So last year, thank you, we brought a new member into Terralex, and my team watched in amazement as they did this master class on social media to promote their joining our membership and some other things. And so when the organizers said, do I know someone who could speak on social media, I said, the king of social media, of course. And so I'm honored to introduce our colleague, Bogdan Gecić. He is the founder of Gecić Law in Belgrade in Serbia. And if you want to follow someone and see how it's done, you should follow him on all the different platforms, which he'll talk about in just a minute. And I'm not going to read his very lengthy biography because we're going to run short on time, but please join us, Bogdan. You're welcome.
Let's check. Yeah, this is on. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. So, a little bit of a random name coming from a random jurisdiction, let's be honest. Although last year Financial Times for some reason said that we're the top FDI location globally in Serbia, and the same goes for all of ex-Yugoslavia. We're literally an emerging market with a very young corporate law scene, myself included, or at least I consider myself that way. But anyways, let's start with the presentation. So, this is the big question. Is big law social media a flop? And before we start with some of the data, let's think about how big law perceives itself. We generally, corporate lawyers, we really take pride in our integrity. It's extremely important that we are perceived to be professional, that our documents, as we heard on the previous panel, are not misused, that we are quoted the right way. Essentially, we're taught, especially if you go to any better Western law school, that less is more. Now let's think about the other PSP, the professional service providers of this world, the McKinseys, the Big Fours. How do they tackle social media? Well, here's your answer. This is the standard that we all use, LinkedIn. So I'll take you across all of the social media that we have. And Dentons is, by the way, one of the most successful big law when it comes to social media. So McKinsey, quite respectable, don't you agree? They are decently refined, sophisticated. They're not the Kardashians of this world. They are someone that we actually really respect and look up to. However, you can see the big difference. This is our voice, and this is one of the loudest voices in our industry. And this is the big three. So, we've done a snapshot, and I apologize to the ones that we didn't include, but we had to limit ourselves somewhere, where we did a little bit of an analysis where the magic circle, the white shoes firms are when it comes to social media. And you'll see that everybody's on LinkedIn. We feel comfy, all of us, with LinkedIn, don't we? When it comes to the rest, well, the situation becomes really interesting. And since our BD team is very entrepreneurial and ambitious, we have a lot of slides, so we'll have to go quickly. So this is Facebook. Facebook appears to be confusing for big law. There is an appreciation that Facebook is important, but we really don't understand how to use it. And the situation is halfway house. So of the 30, 18 have it, the rest don't. Twitter, that's our place. Less is more. We love it. 140 characters. We can, add a little link to a newsletter. It works like a charm. It's something that we're completely used to. And frankly, it works, I think, only for us, because when you think about the following, not that many followers on LinkedIn, but we follow each other a lot. When it comes to YouTube, that's a different story. Again, I would advise looking at, for example, the big three, especially, and I'm not working for McKinsey, just so that you know, but check McKinsey's YouTube and a number of others. It's interesting, it's fun, it's something that you would watch in your free time. Ours, on the other hand, well, the crown jewel. So as I said, LinkedIn is where we feel safe. This is what we use, where we discuss, we measure our following. LinkedIn, as you all know, kicked off as a depository for resumes. It's generally a lot slower even today than all of the other networks, which apparently we again feel comfy with. And we're all on LinkedIn. Although even on LinkedIn, go back to the first slide. McKinsey, 3 million. The best of us, 30, 40K followers. So that's where our voice is. This one, a nightmare. So this one we actually don't touch. If we can, we won't go there. And I was thinking a lot before I came back home. I worked in Brussels in Big Law, and we had sessions of the ICT committee. Usually it was New York or something, and then everybody would dial in once in 2-3 weeks, and then we would discuss ideas. And back then, being a millennial, I couldn't understand why, the partners were so conservative. I mean, what was so wrong? What was the fear with social media? Until we came to Instagram. So my daughter uses Instagram. This is post-millennial generation. So I don't understand it. I'm completely clueless. And then I understood what was my issue with Instagram. That, we wouldn't be taken seriously if we used this. That, it would dilute our integrity. That it goes against what we are. We're professionals. We're serious people. We don't go on a picture social media platform. And one that we don't understand. I don't have a clue how this works. I mean, frankly, I've looked at my daughter, and she communicates through this thing, and I still don't understand. At least that was the case until 6 months ago, when we did a pilot project that we would kick off with Instagram. And I'll come back to our results. So this is our approach. We use similar web to track our results, which is a Israeli-based marketing tool, quite useful. And we've been gradually, the last 4 years, tracking what we do in social media. This is where we are, and these are our two biggest competitors in the region. The lovely green one is us. Pardon the colors. And it's interesting that you can see, so Instagram, only us and the blue ones are present on it. And why we only have 2 more firms is because no one else even does it. When we kicked off with Instagram, what we learned is that it's a fantastic recruiting tool. Because all of the kids who are coming, or young people coming out of law school now, they use Instagram. That's where they communicate. They don't use even Facebook. So for them, Instagram is the way that you approach them, that you talk to them. I mean, that's what we don't understand when we think about social media. It's a discussion platform. It's the way how we communicate to our audience. The world is not the same. It's not enough that you go and give an interview or get quoted on FT. That's nice, bravo, good job, but you actually need to be on these. And we were really surprised with the feedback that we got from our Instagram account. The result of our overall social media campaign is here. So this is the traffic. That's the green, the ugly green one. That's us. And the interesting part is that the graph, the 35 and 45% differences between us and the second and third place in the region, it's actually how old we are. So we are the youngest firm. The one in between is the let's say middle one in terms of how old they are, and the one who has the least traffic is the oldest one. So what does this tell you? Well, our opinion is that millennials are still not in charge, and the fangs of this world are led by millennials. And that's very important. You need to understand the platform, to feel comfy with the platform. So if a takeaway for everyone here, at least my humble opinion would be, have millennials working on your social media. Have millennial lawyers helping out. They understand this. They feel comfy with this. And not all millennials feel comfy with all of the social media. I mean, recall the story that I told you about my daughter. I really don't understand Instagram even now. We know how it works, but the background, the messaging app, the everything that they have, it's something that we never did. We don't use it. That's not how we communicate, our generation. So these are some of our takeaways on how we were doing and what we were doing with our content. And I really enjoyed the panel before us, because what we also learned is that sharing is caring. That's how we call it. So what we do, for example, we were very lucky that when Etihad moved into our jurisdiction and they acquired the old JAT, the more senior people will remember that was a famous Yugoslav carrier, sometimes really famous for lagging flights. But the point is that Etihad acquired them. The company was relaunched as Air Serbia. They just celebrated 5 years of their existence, and they did a beautiful clip about what they did. And then when they shared it, we reshared it on our social media. And whenever our client has a success, we reshare it. Even if we were not included, we give them a congrats. We point out to their successes. And it really works. It's something that you give without expecting that you will get anything immediately. But the same rules like in life work on social media. And eventually, you get the reward. Then the BD manager, without having your BD liaising with theirs, will at some point when you share something say, fantastic, we're really happy that you guys succeeded on this case or something. And you get the recognition. So definitely, sharing is caring. And that's what I would not disagree, but I would modify what the people at the panel before me said. I would definitely think of third-party content when it's our clients, when it's the people that we actually know, we work with them, they achieve something which is amazing. We share that on social media. It's social media. That's the whole point. These are, again, how Instagram worked for us. And as I said, we now have a generation of post-millennials completely zombied into his phone now. Hi, Stefan. But they were the driving force behind our Instagram approach, because we were quite honest to say that we're afraid, that we don't understand as partners how Instagram works, and that we need help. And they helped. And actually, everyone who's running our Instagram page are post-millennials, essentially. People coming out of law school just now. YouTube, this is our impression so far. We're still playing with YouTube. And YouTube is sometimes tricky because, for example, in our jurisdiction, regulatory requirements may, let's say, curtail your ability to play with YouTube as much as you would like. But I think that doesn't affect a number of others. And I think it would be a fantastic platform to communicate the way that, as I said, the big three and the big four are doing. And for this audience, it's also very important. I mean, we're all very much aware of the fact that the big four are moving into the legal industry, and heavily. If we continue on with this kind of a presence on social media, and they continue with theirs, I think the intensity of the voices heard, ours versus theirs, is going to be a huge discrepancy, let's put it that way, and I'm being nice here. So key takeaway. LinkedIn and Twitter, based on industry standards, are a must. Facebook, soul searching. People are still not sure what to do with Facebook. Nobody's really thinking of new clients on social media, it appears. And that's a big difference compared to the big three and the big four. When you think about the McKinsey Institute, I mean, they publish the report on automation on social media. And I was the one who downloaded it, and I'm sure many of you have. So I don't see a reason why we wouldn't do the same, but we're not doing it. And it's time that I think we change this practice. We did that in the Western Balkans. We had the luck that we are a new market, that we could experiment, that we didn't have to wait for changes in generation to do so. And you've seen our stats. It really does work. So I'm giving you here a case study. It's not just my hunch. And I think it's something that would add value to everyone in our entire profession. Of course, please follow us. And that's it for me.
We've got one. We've got time for one. Yes.
Please.
Yes. My name is Anna. I'm coming from Ukraine, Arts and Gary law firm. Could you please tell a little bit more about how you deal with comments? Because apparently you do receive comments, and maybe not necessarily positive ones, for what you share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a very nice question. Well, I mean, I think we approach comments the same way that we would approach any comment if you're doing any kind of an interview. So, irrespective of how sometimes inflammatory comments can be on social media, you always respond. So we never ignore a comment. We have a strict policy of not deleting any comments. However, depending on the comment, we respond in a, let's say, always in a cordial way, explaining that, you know, if it's a really inflammatory comment, then it's quite easy to actually respond, because you just say that, you know, that kind of a topic is something that you disagree with and you wouldn't comment further or something. If it's something actually interesting, then you can open up a debate. And that's what really works on social media. People love the interaction. Of course, and I understand why, for, you know, especially partners, it can be sometimes a little bit scary, because you're not sure who's answering, and then there's a lot of risk if the answer is not something that you would like. So it's actually, I mean, people might perceive it as work, but frankly, now with, you know, all of us are on our phones. It's 30 seconds. So it's just important that you have all of your partners, all of your content providers online, on social media, so that they actually interact. And that's it.
And take a pause before replying to the comments. I come from a country where we have experience with tweeting without thinking, and so...
Oh, yeah.